right now.
Ooh,
We are.
we in here. We in here. What's up? What's up, everybody? Hi, Red Raiders. Hi, Red Raiders and beyond. Who am I to limit the spread of this podcast? Welcome to Seeing Scarlet. I'm Sibby. That's Shelby, and she's watching our stream, as you can hear.
I was just checking to make sure it's working.
You add that viewer count. You can
boost those numbers.
But welcome in, y'all. We are Seeing Scarlet. We have so much to talk about with soccer, with volleyball, with football. So we're excited to share that with y'all and what's to come. But Shelby, checking in. Fall sports are full speed ahead.
I need a nap. I need a nap. Believe it or not, we have real jobs as well.
Spoiler alert.
It is the busiest time of my year, but no, this is worth it. It's fun. Yeah. They're making it a lot of fun. Like you said, Texas Tech soccer, man. They're front page story right now. Top 10. We were just discussing before we started, like, is this our highest ranking ever? The team account didn't say that, so I don't know if they're trying not to like overhype the team going into the big matchups. I did look in their media guide, couldn't find any records on it, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna change after this week. Hopefully, go up. It's a tough week ahead as we'll get into soccer. They got 2 top 25 matchups coming up, and we're gonna break down what happened this past week in soccer and what is ahead this week, and then everything else that's going on in sports with football, basketball practice starting. Yeah. And I have a quick fun story while we wait for the rest of the people to join.
About to
I teased you about, but I remembered it. I was putting on my shirt. Is at church on Sunday. This is the wildest thing that's happened to me since Seeing Scarlet started. I'm in North Carolina, and
this is like 2 days ago, right?
Yes, Sunday.
Okay.
Yes. And I am in North Carolina, so this is why this is wild. People listening that don't realize that it wouldn't be as silly if you're in like Lubbock or something. But this church it's one of those bigger churches. I've been there for 5 years, so I usually know most of the people, but not everyone. But I changed my time since soccer season started because I started going to the earlier one instead of the later one. Anyway, yeah, that's it. So I'm at this new one, and this guy comes up to me after, like, we're all socializing. He's like, He's like, this is gonna sound weird, but are you a Texas Tech like alum? Like, do you do like some sort of podcast with like covering like soccer and stuff? I was like, well, yes, but it's not just soccer, but yeah, it's like I can see how you could get that impression. That's fair. They deserve it.
First off, how dare you?
But wild Texas Tech alum. Shout out him. I don't know if you want to say his name.
He's an alum too?
Yeah, he went there. He's from it. I ran into some Texas Tech fans, and there's a few actually here that I know. But anyway, it was wild. So we got a Seeing Scarlet fan, and we might be trying to get a watch party together on Sunday for the TCU game, because we're just gonna. We talked about it because there was actually a TCU alum at this church too, believe it or not, which I already knew about. But they go to a different anyway, we're going to contact them and see if they'll come. We're going to use one of the media rooms and watch the TCU game after church on Sunday. So that was really cool. And I'm excited to have new Texas Tech friends and someone to watch the soccer game with on Sunday. But yeah, that was one of the wildest things that's happened as far as.
That is like the coolest thing. Like, what is, like, because of that reach, he was able to connect with you. And then you're like taking it along for another part of getting to watch the game with them. Like, and that's going to expose people to this amazing team, which we're going to talk about.
And fans. He was like, I'm not a big soccer person. I was like, but you are now, right? You are now. He's like, no, y'all hooked me. Oh. So yeah, no, he's into it now. So
all right, we'll help.
Anyway, that was my fun story. So everybody that's
cool.
joined, hey Maddie in the chat. Sorry,
hey Maddie,
we were vibing. The also a new soccer fan. His first ever in-person soccer game. Was the great one that we've already babbled on about for hours, but Texas. So we just got to find a way to get Maddie to every game ever, and we will never lose.
Wow, no pressure. And it's almost like I kind of feel bad that was his first experience ever, because that was the most, like I said, the most historic game for me with a Texas versus Texas Tech lineup. So how do you even come close to that in the future? So maybe we'll talk about it in this episode of how that can be met. So Matt, don't spend all of your travel money just yet. Okay.
just yet. I tried to make him spend his travel money, but it's fine.
I know.
We tried. But also just as impressive in a way is what they did
Okay.
this Texas Tech soccer did this past week for those that hopefully saw
Totally.
it. But to come home after all this hype, Texas Tech's sports teams have a habit of not living up to that. But this team has that aura around them where they just don't care about the rankings. They don't care about that. They just go to work and do what they do. And they came out high ranking at home against teams that you were supposed to beat. And they found a way to do it. And it started out with Oklahoma, who did give us a little trouble in the first half. They played a pretty aggressive style. I'll leave it to you, soccer actual analyst, me, soccer fan. I believe it was a 3-5-2 is what they kept saying. They were just playing high pressure. Look at me go. And it was something we hadn't seen yet, which the team talked about afterwards. But we found a way to break through in the second half. So take it away, Sibby.
I know. I keep trying to get over the fact that like you introduced me as like this huge soccer buff, but to me it's like
to me.
I don't know. I think you've come such a far way. Anyway, yeah, Texas Tech taking care of business during these two matches that we had at home, and like you said and warned, like it can be really tricky. But honestly, saying like they took care of business is so right because of their presence. And we'll start with talking about OU, Texas Tech versus Oklahoma. The game at home almost had 2,000 fans. That's what you read?
Yeah, it was. They announced it after the game. I want to say 1,800, 1,900 fans is what Tom Stone said in his press conference after.
Oh yeah, and he was like, "That's a record." Was that a record? Is that when he was like?
No, he asked if there was a record, and they told him, and he said that's probably about as much as we've had since back in the end of the Becky, beginning of the Kirsten Davis era. It's been a minute, 14, 15 years.
What a cool 16. Yeah, what a cool time to be alive. So that's been really cool, and being able to go to some of the home games. It's the crowd is there, so that's really cool to see. But they ended up winning 2-0 at home, and both of these goals were scored within like seconds of each other. Very, very quick. I think it was like within 3 seconds. So 30 seconds. So we're gonna show this first clip, and it's you know the lineup here. You know who it's going to be. You see who's teeing up, getting ready. It's Macy Blackburn on a corner kick.
Who else? Who else?
I cannot.
Shout out to Bridget who called it too. What was hilarious about this to me before this is my analysis is Bridget is the color commentator on here. Great.
Please tell me we have the same
alum, and she's like talking and she's like, OU's gonna have to. OU's gonna know. OU's gonna know who's gonna be getting this. It's gonna be Hannah. Hannah's gonna have to find creative ways. And didn't OU just like left her? I mean, she tried to recover last second. And I'm just like, if I was her Shelby. Keeper, I would be like, what the are you doing? It's her. You can't. I mean, Hannah could have scored over 3 people, much less you try to last minute jump into her. Like that was that ball.
I love it. Of course, it's a perfectly placed ball, and it makes me laugh so hard that you picked up that same note. Like, listen to the commentator here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was like, this is the time to shine.
Texas Tech needs to take full advantage of this corner. Now, obviously, the player to look out for is Hannah Anderson.
Obviously.
And the Sooners are going to know that, and they're going to have her marked. So Hannah has to find creative ways to get to that ball.
And
Hannah Anderson, goal! Red Raiders! There's...
Nailed it.
I literally, I had like an Instagram about that because like hearing that in the clip, I was like, oh, I could make some joke about this, but I didn't. I resisted, and it was in my notes too to talk about that of like,
okay,
you could plan for Hannah, you can train and practice for Hannah, but she didn't even really have to get creative there. You know what I mean? Like she was there.
No, she just does what
they chose to neglect, and she made them pay. And that that combo is so lethal. How many times have we seen that? Like time after time.
This year, and they did it her freshman year too, Macy's freshman year, and then obviously we know she got hurt last year.
Yeah,
otherwise they would have kept doing it. But and that's Hannah's 4th goal of the year, I believe, and that is now her career tied for her career high. I think she had the other one her freshman year.
Yeah.
She had started off her career
Mm-hmm.
wild, and then now she's back to doing it. Which, if people are listening aren't aware, she is our captain, center back, defensive play. Like, she doesn't get a lot of chances to score. She basically scores off of set pieces in corners, and all that. The set pieces is where she scores. Like, she's not. Although against Baylor, we showed the highlight in last week's episode. She was out there trying to be a striker and took a really long shot and almost made it. But typically her shots are going to be on those set pieces. And so she doesn't get as many opportunities to score. And she's very efficient. I don't know if they keep track of that. They got to. Her efficiency stats on goals, like shots taken and goals and actually made, have to be tops in the country. I don't know if she's missed the one at Baylor. Has she missed anything else? Anyway, probably got her head on another one that hasn't gone in, but she's got to be like 4 for 6 or something stupid.
That's a great question, and I wonder if we can. I'm sure we can figure out that stat now that we've talked about it. But yeah, I love that she is so consistent, and like you said, huge goal. And to have that assist by Macy Blackburn, so it was great. And then our second goal that we had with Macy shooting a PK. But before that, I don't think we have a clip of that, of what happened before, but it was a really important play, I think, by Alex Kerr, by drawing the Sooners in, so much so, where she's so threatening is like splitting those defenders, like just straight up beating them, no mercy. She has the job to do, and she's going to make it happen. And when they get beat, they have to foul her. So that's what they did with Alex Kerr in the box, very clear. And Macy Blackburn is the one that took the PK. So there's a couple of tweets I saw that talked about, like, y'all pay attention to what she does before she shoots, before she makes contact with the ball.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle. I think Ashley Williams described it the best. She said hips don't lie when she shared it on social.
A great philosopher.
I'm assuming, as you're calling yourself not a soccer analyst, okay, as a bigger fan than I guess. I don't know what I am at this point. Okay. I just consider myself to be a fan of the game. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, dude.
By the end of the season. Is that tactical? Is that so is that like the same as like a wiggle in basketball, like trying not to let them read which way you're going, or is she just out there?
I mean, the great philosopher said hips don't lie, and like that's so true. Hips, like if you can read the hips of a striker like that, that's where you can make that initial like reach or initial dive. And so Macy doing it, like really selling it, but like almost to the point of like times. Like whoa, I just it was good.
Watch the hips. Year.
And here it comes. Goal.
Just back of the net, no chance.
Yeah, because the keeper technically did guess right. She was a little late, but even if she was on time, it was placed so perfectly. Like those are the ones where you're just not going to jump. You're going to stop that.
Yeah. Top. And does this clip show the second angle to where you can really see?
I think it does. I think it's going to get to.
You can let it just roll. But yeah, it's such a great strategy by Macy to where, like, even if she did guess right, it just wasn't going to
here's
happen.
the player you're talking about on Alex. This is the this is what Guy missed the PK.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, like that defender knew that Alex was going to be a problem and just took her out there.
Alex has drawn at least 2 PKs. And another one on Cincinnati, she got a set piece right outside the box that we almost scored off of. They have nothing to do but pull her down. I think did Texas do that to her too on a set piece or something? I don't know if we didn't get a PK. Anyway, what I'm saying is she's constantly just taking people out on the down there on that. She's going around the edge and they're just trying to catch up and they're tackling her literally, not the way you're supposed to in soccer, and she's really good at that. So credit to her.
I think that's totally true. It's like it's not she's trying to like get the foul. She's like trying to make them compete for the dominance of that situation. So it's like, if you can't keep up, like you're going to have to pay. And that's what ends up happening. So I love watching her play. I continue to love watching her adapt to Texas Tech soccer and being such a key player in our lineup. So that was
such a huge pickup.
Truly.
Can't say enough about Alex Kerr.
Man, you remember when we like That's when we
Did
first
that
kind of
preview.
started things.
That was our first
Yeah.
soccer story of the
That was our first
year.
soccer story of the year. Alex Kerr, girl, you were a special person for us to start this journey on. So
Or the keepers might have been. But anyway, she was early on in there.
she was early on. Anyway, so that's where we ended in gameplay. So no more.
I have
highlights.
one
Oh wait,
more highlight.
oh,
from this
no.
game
Yes, you
that as
introduced.
the
You
resident
introduced.
soccer
You
hype
go.
woman was my favorite player of the game. Obviously, I love the goals, but
We know.
silly Sam,
know, Shelby.
tricky Sam, court right. If y'all haven't seen this freshman play, she's goofy out there. She just watch.
She's so good.
She juggles what she's over here in the corner, right? Surrounded by a couple of
Mhm.
defenders. I think it's Macy heads it over to her, which is also nifty on her own to be able to do that in close quarters. Those two together are fun
Yes.
to watch. And then Sam just juggles it like she's in her like backyard chilling.
She's on her Instagram, dude. I told you.
It's not. Is it playing for you?
Oh, it's give it a minute. Give it a second.
Oh, guys, it doesn't want to play that clip.
Oh no.
Oh no, Sibby,
That-
keep talking about the rest of your stuff for this game, and I'll see if I can figure out. I can troubleshoot it
Okay, cool
for you guys because y'all need to see.
Yeah,
the madness.
y'all should. And yeah, I think while our producer's doing that, Erica, chat, welcome in. If you have any questions or if you want us to talk about anything about these matches, let us know. We love bringing the sport closer to people like Maddie. Wow. Well, I don't know if we definitely helped with that. Anyway, but this match against OU, Madison White, our goalkeeper,
So it was a good
our
battle,
goat.
so it was a good
Oh, we got it.
Here we go.
got it.
We
We
got it
got
now.
it.
All right,
First, you don't succeed. Try again.
W's in the chat for our producer, y'all.
in the nation so far. So it was a good
Anyway,
battle
look at
between
her.
the two.
Look at her juggle. Oh! Reverse. Is that
Court
a
right.
reverse
Showing the
rainbow? I don't
handles.
know what that's called.
Wait a
but my
second.
girl,
Court right.
have you not seen this? I sent it to you.
I didn't know she juggled before she did the flick.
She juggled feet, knees, and then
Go.
she flicks it
Let me
backwards
see this
over her
again.
head.
So
Bap.
So casual. The OU defender's like, what the hell is this girl doing? And then it would have been even cool if she actually controlled it, but I think she was meaning to clear it there. I don't know. She was just trying to clear it farther down the field instead of giving them that closer throw in. But baffling, right?
Samantha.
I don't know if your name is it Samantha? I don't know if that's her full name. Probably so. Silly Sam. Sam, whatever you go by, just likes to make people look silly out there.
I
She just does.
love, because I think we texted about this during this game, like we normally do, and I remember saying to you, like, I love how Sam is playing in
Play
her
this
first
over and over
year
in the background.
in college. Yeah, let the clip roll.
Let the people see
I-
the greatness.
I love how Sam is like having fun out there and like trying, like doing these tricks. And like, I don't know if y'all know this, but her Instagram, she has so many like really cool trick shot videos that have like, some viral numbers. And I love that she's able to bring that fun into the game, into the style of play. And like Tom knows it. And it's just like, it's part of her identity. And I just love that. I always want all of these athletes to have fun while they're playing. And I think Sam is doing it well and like doing it in her way while
I love that
being
we have coaches
a
that
contributor.
let her do it too. Like we talked about that with the basketball team too, is they let them have personality and play within the team game, but she gets to have a little flair out there and have fun, and she's capable of it. Not everyone can do that. And I think they asked her about it after the game, and she said something like, I'm learning the speed of the game and learning when I can do it and on what ends of the field I can do it on. This one, she did it on her own end, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I would assume that it was a good play because she got the ball farther down the field to clear it out.
Yeah.
We'll let the coaches decide on that, but it was fun to watch, if nothing else. And then she
Yeah.
did. It might have been Cincinnati too. We don't have a clip of it, but she did her usual stuff at the top of the box where she just juked out like 4 people like 4 times in a row before she took a shot and it went wide. But yeah, she's fun to watch. Just watch her go to work. Her and Macy together, crazy combos together. It's wild.
I think the best part of that, it's like we could show y'all every highlight where that does happen, but we would end up just showing you the whole game. So like just some really cool players to keep an eye on. But this whole roster is just so stacked, and I think that we can talk about that more when we talk about their win against Cincinnati. But another thing that we that I noticed during this match too is how Madison White, like her height was so key with some of those saves, like that, like she was almost just picking it up and like picking it from space because of how like tall she was and how dominant she was between the two pipes. So I love seeing her continuing to have some saves and another clean sheet to add to the list. As y'all know, she's now the leader in Texas Tech program history with clean sheets. That means she hasn't been scored on in a game. So it's just a continuous achievement. And I remember, Shelby, when you and I were almost joking about like, we're so happy that she broke that record at the beginning of the season, because we knew, and she knew, she was like, great, like this is an achievement, but she's just thinking about how can she show up for her team and continue to be just like such a reassurance for our defense. So shout out to Madison to continue to do what she's doing, but sometimes like her forwards are taking care of business, and our midfield has improved so much that I think like Madison's not seeing as many shots come through too. So we're just improving all across the board. It's great.
She's gonna have plenty of shots on Thursday, so she'll make up for it. But we'll get to that in a second. Next on the board was Cincinnati, who came in fresh off of a tie at BYU, which we'll talk about that more in a minute. I wouldn't read too much into it, is all I'm saying. But they came in, do what they did, and they tried to do the same thing against us, is what I would say in the first half. I think I texted you. Yeah. This is not soccer. More my words. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's not soccer. And fair play to them. Cincinnati's not like they know their first year of a new coach, their rebuilding program. Their goal is simple this year. Their goal is to make the Big 12 tournament, and to do that, you have to be a top 10 team in the league. And so if they could get draws against these big teams and win against those other ones, they can do that. So they were just packing it in until we scored, and that changed in the second half, so we could get some more. Right. They were packing it in. That's what they did against BYU too. But I love that we found a way, just like we did at OU. That was a new style of play that we saw, and to see us get those goals eventually in this one, we broke through and got them too. So.
Right. Yeah, you're totally right. And this game was, like we were really dominant. We ended up winning 3-0 with a victory, which is such a fun way to say a soccer score. If y'all are ever bored, you can tell all your friends tomorrow that Texas Tech won 3-0. And that was their fourth. It is. You should try it.
3-0.
Hey. Ooh.
Feels very British. I don't know why.
Very. I'm not going to try that. Anyway, but that marks their fourth straight home shutout at the Walker, and 6 straight wins. So really exciting to see our consistent show out from our home and also like away that we talked about. And I know I see a question here in the chat. I'm sure is what we were talking about a little bit ago. Increased skill or speed, confidence that Tech is playing fast and having quantity and quality over shots. What I've noticed, that's a great question.
I have a simple answer to that, but you give the real one first.
I think and we might be saying the same thing, Shelby, but what I've noticed, and especially being at home in Lubbock, summer heat, we are like really trained and like in shape to like the reasons why soccer games, I think in my opinion, sometimes go the way that they go is like, just teams getting tired. And I think we saw that with Cincinnati. I think we saw that with OU, is that they had their stars, but the overall who's in shape is we look really, really good. So
that's a great point. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that our endurance is what let us beat Texas. We talked about that in that episode. Our depth has allowed us, and the depth plays into that endurance. You saw a lot of subs at the first goal of this game, which we'll show in a second, was from a sub. This team is deep, and My answer to that, though, is from a lot of people are comparing this year to last year. Like last year, we were pretty good in the Big 12, like ended up third, but we just didn't score enough goals and our RPI was bad, so we didn't make the tournament because we just tied a lot of people. To me, it's very clearly that Macy Blackburn is back. If we're being frank, you have Macy Blackburn, who is the engine to the team. She has 11 assists on the year now. She got hurt 3 games into last year, and she had 3 assists in those first 3 games. So if she stays around last year, I think you have a way more dynamic team. When she was gone, and we didn't have someone like an Alex Kerr, who we also have this year. So that's 2 of my answers. The endurance, yes. The skill. Then you add in 3 players of the caliber of Macy Blackburn coming back, Alex Kerr coming as a grad transfer, and Sam Courtright, who has her flashy moments, has 6 assists as a freshman already, 3 goals. Those are 3 really important players on this team. When you add it in to people you already had with Kylie Barr returning, who is wildly talented. You have Madison in goal, and you have Hannah back there, Cassie Taylor, who has another year at center back now. She just moved there last year. I think that's a lot of it. So I think it's a player thing, plus the endurance, and that they just worked. I mean, if you go back and listen to our interviews with Hannah, Kylie, and Madison, and they all talked about how much they really like their goal is not just to like have the season. They have big goals this year, and they've been working hard since January. And a lot of these freshmen, including Sam Courtright, showed up in January, and they've been doing skills training on their own. So they just put in the work, and then you add in the fact that they're so far have been healthy, which shout out the grass. I also think the grass is helping with this too. A lot of people say grass will slow you down compared to turf, which
fine.
In a bubble, yes, like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But when you add in the fact that you're not practicing on turf all the time, you're not playing all the games on turf all the time, your muscles are not as insanely fatigued from doing that and in pain, that helps as well. And then the depth and the endurance, like you talked about. So that it's a 2-way answer for me. It's a personnel thing for sure if you're comparing it to last year. And they've just put in the work. It's a really well-rounded team.
What major did you graduate at Tech with?
How long do we have? My undergrad was in sports, exercise and sports science. I was initially an athletic training student, and then I went to grad school and got a degree in sports psychology as well as mass comm, and then that's what I ended up working in.
Like those questions are your bread and butter. It was you knocked it out of the park.
But appreciate the question. I don't know who this is, RR86, but thanks for hanging out. If you have any more, let us know.
Thank you.
We did get some questions. We got a question on Twitter, but it's about the BYU game, so we'll
get there.
That.
Let's keep talking about Cincy. That 3-0 victory. And you know, the first goal that we got in the 32nd minute, and I am so hyped about this goal. Caitlin Giametta, y'all. We have talked about her before, and she scores her first goal of the season, and in such athletic fashion. You'll see here in just a minute with the clip, but
she's on.
Oof.
It's
just like
goal!
Made it happen.
Let's watch it again.
She's on. Yep. It's a goal!
Ball, like, this is so great. We see Alex Kerr bringing it down the line. I think Macy's the one that connected it to Alex. So the ball's in great hands with great Pete's.
Yeah, those are 3 good players to touch the ball for sure.
Great. So you see Alex doing what she does best, splitting divisioners. Macy kicks it back. We love a give and go. Our team loves give and goes. And then Caitlin Giametta with that athletic,
I don't understand
almost back split. Yeah. And for the ball to be hit hard enough that the keeper made contact, but it was too strong. And
it was too high up there.
Blasted through. It was at a perfect angle. So this wasn't a fluke. This was pure athleticism, and I'm so stoked to see Caitlin get her first goal of the season.
Only a matter of time.
Been waiting. Yeah, we've been waiting for this to happen. She has shown her strength, and so I think this is a game. And she had a couple of huge plays this game. This was such a great showcase to show how she's been adapting to the game and adapting to the team and how to put herself in perfect positions like that. And she's just been exploiting that middle position, especially here and against Cincinnati, and made it happen. So it was a great goal. Love seeing that.
My favorite part of this goal, besides the fact that she got her 3rd goal, is the buildup. I think it's really like a goal that comes from 3 consecutive one touch. Like you got one, really 4 if you go back to the Alex originally to Macy there. And then straight over, one touch back to Alex, one touch over to G, one touch stretched out into the goal. That's 4 straight one touch. But like, that is so impressive. Even, I mean, it's close quarters too. They're going between defenders. That just shows how confident this team is. And that comes from being undefeated, but that also comes from all the work they put in. They're just so confident in their abilities, and they don't get rattled. They didn't get rattled by being down, or not down, but being held without a goal again until late into the first half. And that goal is really big as you move into the second half, right? That way it forces Cincinnati to get out of that holding like 10 players back thing. And the fact that we were able to score in that madness anyway, they had to sift through all those people because there's like 10 people back the entire first half. It was so hard to watch as a soccer fan. But the fact that we could play against that anyway and get a goal is impressive. And then you go into the second half, which I'm sure you'll talk about. Then that forces Cincinnati to play a little bit aggressive, and they came out aggressive. And Madison had to make a couple of really nice punch outs on corners and against another keeper might have gone right into the goal. So she had to do her thing, settled in, and then we took over from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was almost falling asleep when you were talking earlier because I was like, this is so beautifully put, beautifully, perfectly said. You're totally right. So yeah, we were up 1-0, and I think what you talked about too is who the touches and who was able to be a contributor to that goal. And that's such a theme of this team. Like, y'all look it up. Our assist records are wild. Our numbers are wild with assists. And I think it comes from like trusting themselves to make the play happen. And then also them trusting each other to get the ball in the back of the net. So I love it so far. It's been really cool to see. And Macy continuing to add to her assists. She is the third player at Tech to reach double-digit assists in a season. She has, I think we're trying to figure that out, 11 so far. 11,
one away from the single season record.
And we still have some soccer to play.
5 games left in the regular season. I'm assuming, does that count postseason? I'm assuming it does. So she has hopefully quite a few games left.
So.
But so yeah.
Anyway, so I mean, that's really cool. She's got some records tied with Kirsten Davis, who has been a legend from this Texas Tech program, who now plays in the NWSL. So it's just, Macy's really into her era. If y'all don't know, and if y'all haven't been listening to us, she had an injury, and this is her return, her comeback season. And it's not even like comeback season. She's like,
no, she's just back. Like, she missed no steps because like
she somehow got better
in the preseason. We were like, how much do we hype up Macy? Because we're like, she's all Big 12 freshman. She was great to start the year last year, and then got hurt. And we're like, maybe we won't. We just didn't want to put pressure on her. And by God, we should have just hyped the shit out of her because she ain't feeling any pressure. Should have bought a shirt. I should have bought a banner. Season tickets with just like her face cut out in them. I mean, we should have gone all in.
We'd be billionaires.
Wildly.
We would be billionaires.
She stepped right back into what she was doing on another level.
Yeah. So she's such an inspiration to watch. And we, again, are like, as we'll talk about here in a minute, of a really important part of our season is coming up yesterday. Yes. So
it's here.
But we'll hop into our second goal that we got against Cincinnati. This was in the 53rd minute. And it's a name that we've talked about before, and someone who continues to make a present, and that's Jill Martinez with an absolute banger. She has the ball right now, y'all.
Boom, boom.
Where did it end up?
In the goal.
In the back of the net.
I mean, if Jillian gets the ball at the top in that space, it's over. It's over. I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's over.
I don't know why.
You got to have someone on her. She's taking that shot, and it is in the goal or very dang close. And that was another one. And on the ground, make it do some weird things. She's had them in the air where they've gone the crazy bending that she does. UCLA transfer. She was a really big recruit coming out of high school. Mm-hmm. And she's really starting to find her rhythm here in a Red Raider uniform for sure. And she's dangerous. We need her to do that, especially as we get into these next games where
Agreed.
teams are going to be
doing that
able to match up with all of our players. You know what I mean? We're going to need everybody to be on their game and have someone that can step up there. Kazarski can do that too in that space right there at the top of the box, and she's so dangerous. I just love watching her do what she does.
Shelby, I didn't know that you're working for other teams that were playing the rest of the season with this playbook. I mean,
if they need me to tell them
how many times do we have to tell y'all? Like, how many times do we have to say, you better mark Hannah? if it's a corner, you better mark Hannah.
Apparently OU needed us and Bridget to tell them that.
How many times do we have to say Jill Martinez has been heating up and there's no stopping in sight. What was really cool about this play too, you see Caitlin Giametta with the assist, who just scored our first goal. So loving seeing her credited with that assist. She was definitely really present throughout the match, and this was a great showcase of that. But yeah, Jill, girl, every time, like, it just, I don't know what else to say about that. I can't wait to see her continue to grow.
It's money. She's just so consistent from up there. She's got it down.
It was great. And you know what? Another part too of that, sorry, I know you just switched. But she had like one touch. Oh, it is? Okay. She had one touch to get the ball under control and to have that knowledge of where your defenders are and to know what you need in order to execute a pretty strong goal to get past that keeper. She's so good at that. She's so good at that read.
She is. She's fun to watch up there, and it would be kind of fun to see her get one on Thursday. I think.
Hey,
put it in early call for that.
So true. Okay, put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
Yeah, and so that was our second goal in the 53rd minute, and then we'll end with our last one that came from Sam Courtright. She has 3, I think, so far this season.
Yep, this was her third goal this season. First one in her Texas Tech career here at the John Walker, though. Her first 2 were on the road.
Yeah, so you see Giselle passing it out to Kylie Barr. Kylie Barr, how strong, how fast she is, sends that ball perfectly to Sam. Sam Courtright takes a couple of insurance touches for that perfect placement and to blast through all Cincinnati defenders. That couldn't make any disruption. And then the celly.
I love a good celebration, man. I wish they'd all do it, but
I know.
It's funny. You can really tell a lot about psychology, but you can tell a lot about people's personality and how they celebrate goals. Like Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Craziness. Sam clearly has that in her bag, too. Alex Kerr scores a goal, and she's like, smiles.
You know what I'm going to do?
Every once in a while, she might raise her hand.
You know,
I know this because I went to make gifts last week, right? You're welcome, everyone. And I'm like, man, I need some Alex Kerr content. But all of her goals, she's just like business as usual and just hugs her teammates.
Yes.
So even just right there, she just ran up and hugged Sam. I love it. I love that for her. But we're working on some gifts for you, Alex. I did get one of her making a goal, though. It's solid. But
that's awesome.
Sam and Ashley are like walking gifts at this point. So it's helpful.
Walking gifts, clips, hype, all of that. Truly just... they have it all. But
I just want to give another shout out to Kylie Barr on this.
Oh my god!
You talk about her speed. She's really coming in her own lately. This pass is ridiculous. Like through like 4 people to the top, because she could have gone straight across to Kerr, but I think she was worried about Kerr being offsides.
Right.
And she saw Sam sitting at the top. She's like, I got the ability. I'll just snip it on up there to the freshman. Let her do her thing.
We got time, yeah. I guess.
And that is Kylie Barr's 5th assist on the team on the year. She's 3rd on the team. And she talked in our interview with her way back before the season that was something she was working on. Last year, she was really good. She's, all freshman team as a outside back, but she did not push up like this as much. She had 1 assist on the entire year. She gets that USA invite, camp invite, U20 camp invite. And she talked about how that was something that they told her, like, you're really good, but let's work on this this next time. I'm sure the Texas Tech staff was telling her the same thing too as she grows, and she has tenfold, and she has a great one to like do it with on the other side there with Macy, and then you bring Elise in as a senior who does the same thing. Like our outside backs are just we're spoiled as fans. Like it makes it's such a fun brand of soccer to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that we're played this year and that we can play because of personnel, and she's a part of that. So
and And the best part, it's working. We
yes, that
remain
helps.
undefeated, right? Like,
Yeah.
and we're, when we first started this episode, we're like, is this the highest that they've been ranked before? Like, we have so much to be excited for with this team, and a 3-0 victory against a new Big 12 opponent, and having that last insurance goal pretty much from Sam Courtright. It was just a really great display from so many different players. We had so many game changers, like you talked about earlier, that impacted this game, that continue to confirm that our roster is so deep, and there's no drop off. We've been telling y'all that, and this is a great display of that when we needed some game changers, and they did that. And I want to give a shout out, like you talked about too, Madison White. She had a lot of really great punch outs when Cincinnati came back, like trying to close the gap, but unable to do so. Another clean sheet for Madison White. And Cassie Taylor, we've
She's
talked about
so
her.
Steady. Like,
gosh, she has been so
so
huge
impressive
with Hannah in that back end, and I loved watching.
I just thought of a play
we've watched
in
her
this
grow.
game that
What? Which one?
I thought of a play that made me laugh in OU. I'm pretty sure it was against OU. Yeah, it was against OU. So this is back on Thursday. I don't know if you noticed it in person. I think it was in the second half, but we're running Hannah and Cassie are OU got a steal or something. They're countering, so we don't have everybody back, and they're sprinting back.
Yeah.
Hannah is so confident that she turns her back to the OU player. I don't think you're supposed to do this, and Tom is screaming at her, "What are you doing, Hannah?" But Hannah's like unfazed, talking to Cassie like, "Hey, you got this, girl. I got her. Don't worry. I'm gonna turn around. It's fine." And like they have a full-blown conversation as this OU girl's like, "Is she literally just ignoring me? Like disrespected?" And she just comes up. Hannah turns around, goes out there. The girl takes a shot. Hannah blocks the shot, gets the ball,
this play,
and just carries it on up the field. And I know that that's not what she's supposed to do, but I think it says so much about the confidence that those two have and the ability. And you can be overconfident, maybe against a better team. I don't know, but that just says so much about how many minutes Hannah Anderson has played. Mm-hmm. She started every game her freshman year. I don't know if she's missed. Yeah, she might have missed a game here or there.
She got subbed out.
I have no idea, but she's played pretty much full 90s this year outside of when we're up 6-0. Yes. And she's, again, started every game her freshman year. Yes. She's played so many games. She's a fifth-year senior because of the COVID year. She's seen everything you can see on a soccer field.
She has.
Any time of attack, anything. And that experience, and then you talked about Cassie. Cassie was a midfielder until last year, midway through the season. Yeah. They bumped her back there, and then she has someone to learn with from Hannah, and that's why you see her growing every game, and she's just so steady. Both of them back there. We're gonna need them as we can wrap up this recap, but when we get into BYU, howdy, we're gonna need them, and I am so glad to have them on our team.
I am so happy. Y'all are going to be so happy, and we're going to talk a little bit more about why we're happy about that. So that wraps up where we are now. Okay, so we remain undefeated. We've had some shutouts. We're entering a time like October 1st hit, and I'm like, oh, it is spooky season.
We here
Confirmed. It is spooky season, y'all. We have BYU coming up. After BYU, we have TCU. These are two top 25 teams. BYU is now what, Shelby?
Tied with us for 7th in the nation.
All right, that's made up.
That's true.
I hate that.
The NCAA account put out that they're 8th, but the actual poll, if you go to it, says 7-7, and the total points of the votes accumulated is equal. So and BYU put out that they're 7th as well. So I think the NCAA account's template just didn't let them do it, so they just put 8th. But yeah. Okay,
and then we have, following BYU, we have TCU at home, which TCU is ranked
number 23 in the nation.
They
should be much higher than that, to be fair. They're like 13th in the massive poll ratings. Yes. Their RPI is a little bit lower there, so I think it's RPI that's keeping them back from the other polls, but the computers like them quite a bit, and they've been playing really great lately. They just had a little bit of a dip in the pre-conference play, but it was like to the number 1 and number 5 teams in the country right now. Like
Florida State and Penn State.
And Penn State. They might have like one bad loss on their schedule, if that. But they've been doing well, so we'll get to them in a minute.
We'll talk about it.
But
first,
I mean, like,
the big one. Yeah, so we're entering
Provo, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I say I'm a regretfully responsible adult because of this, because y'all, I was so close to
I was
booking a
about
ticket.
to Shelby, I
So
was like,
close.
she's gonna make her announcement. She's gonna Taylor Swift this episode and be
Oh
like,
no, I was
and
so
I'm
close.
going tomorrow.
If I could have done it, I would have done it.
I know, dude. I know.
appreciate everyone trying to guilt trip me into it on Instagram. I put that poll as a joke, but then everybody responded.
But everybody was like, yeah, go, Shelby.
Yeah, go.
The
Not a
poll,
single person
y'all,
said no. I needed y'all to be like,
poll,
no, be responsible.
Hold up. I
Stay
need to tell
home
everybody,
and do your
if they didn't
job.
see it, if y'all aren't following us on Instagram, go do that, because Shelby will post dumb shit like, hey.
I rarely get on the Instagram story. It's just random stuff like that. It's mostly silly.
And the poll is, should Shelby go to be an irresponsible adult and go to BYU for the soccer game? So everybody, like some of our players that follow us, were like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, dang,
Go.
I really didn't want
And
them
I
to
was
vote
like,
on that,
dude,
but,
so y'all go follow our Instagram. Same
no,
stuff.
but
Go
yeah,
follow us.
good
Anyway.
good plug. Yeah, for sure. Follow us on Instagram. Do it. I really tried. I tried everything I could. I have worked hard the last couple of years here to be able to do stuff like this, because
Yeah.
I thankfully can make my own schedule. So I was like, I'm doing this. You know what? Heck,
Yeah.
this is what I have. I love doing the experiences in life. That's what I like to spend money on. So I was all about it. And I had one last person that was going to go with me, and he just could not get off work. And so we tried to turn it into a work trip for him, because he has clients in Salt Lake. And so he had to do that, and he couldn't do it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go by myself. I've traveled by myself before. It's not a big deal. And he talked me out of it. Bless him. I'm still mad. I'm going to hold it over his head. But no, I'm kidding. He just cared, because he's like, Shelby, this is your busiest time of year.
I know. And
if you're going with someone else, it would be
honestly,
fine. But you're going to be driving by yourself. You're going to be like a 36-hour turn. Anyway, so I'm a regretfully responsible adult, will not be there, but we will be watching from home. So I'm excited.
Oh, and that's, yeah, I'm stoked for you. And honestly, hey, we're saving money for the Natty. Anyway, so let's get into BYU. We're entering this match against BYU, out shooting our opponents almost half, like 200 to 100. We're leading the country for assists. We have so many great stats to point to the progress that we've earned.
This really nice comment that I thought you should see if you didn't see it.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Okay. Hey, thanks for your subscription. It's great. I have so much to say about that kind of topic that, like, I'm gonna need another
but we appreciate it.
Another beer and another episode.
Tell your friends, all of them. Again, we've talked about it before. This is not about us. We just want to hype up the players and the teams because they deserve it. Like, if no one else was going to do it, here we are. So we appreciate that you're enjoying it. And you're right on that previous play. I just saw your comment. It was the one touch control, like we talked about, that scored. So if you're still here, appreciate it. Anyway, continue with BYU.
Thank you, R86. You're the best. So we have so many great things going for us for BYU. And for y'all, if you don't know, BYU at home, their crowd is full. It is a night game. The atmosphere is going to be electric, to say the least. So this is going to be a tough environment for Texas Tech to go play into. And BYU is undefeated at home. They're currently 2-0-1 in conference play. They have 46
should be 2-0-2. They have 2 ties in conference play at home, right? They tied TCU in Cincinnati.
You're right.
They probably hadn't updated their stats yet.
I'm like, what day did this exist? So undefeated, just like us.
Haven't lost.
And they haven't.
They have lost a game this year. They just have not lost in conference.
But who else joins us? Is it TCU too? We'll get into that. I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. So yeah, they are the second in the country for their scoring offense, and we've heard that stat before when we played the University of Texas. And
I will say this one feels a lot more valid.
This one seems a lot more valid. You're right. I know, but like, I'm just, hey, let me hang on to that.
We ain't scared.
Okay?
We are not scared.
We ain't scared. So here's what we can tell y'all about BYU and what I've captured, and then Shelby, you chime in, obviously. But the first thing, and Shelby and I, we watched them play against
Texas. Was a much better game.
When did we watch them play?
We watched them play against Texas, but last night we watched some of their Iowa State game, which was
we're
a massacre, send flowers to Iowa State, RIP.
Yeah, they won 7-0. I think 7-0, 8-0.
Iowa State is not that great, but that's still
know.
impressive. I will say clarification.
That was tough.
It was still 4-0, but when they got up 4-0 in the first 5 minutes of that game,
yeah.
they took out their entire starters because they have to play again on Thursday, and their coach literally used it as they weren't gonna have time to practice, so they just put in their entire bench, including changing the keeper.
Yeah,
and he treated it as a practice.
So
it's like, when are we going to see this caliber of player? We'll just treat it like a practice for Thursday's game. So that's helped them get more goals. And BYU did not let up. I mean, these gals were trying to score as the clock was tricking down to 0 because it was subs for them too, and they're trying to help their RPI after tying Cincinnati and TCU. So I get it, but
yeah, I mean, and they're coming out like full force. And I think what was helpful is like us watching that game and to learn about their full roster, just like we have our full roster, who is so stacked. But off the top, from a lot of their matches, they have some really powerful like strikers. Their forwards all have goals, touches. They are contributing to offense in that way. So like, I can't wait to watch that matchup. To be honest,
is what you're saying?
I think they're pretty good.
Right.
They have their leading scorer on the team, Erin Bailey. She is so fast. She's so fast. She's so strong. The hype is real with her.
She comes off the bench.
I was impressed to watch that.
She doesn't even start. She comes off the bench for them. Isn't that unfair
I love
behavior?
When you're so good.
Unfair behavior.
I love when you're that good. Like the numbers she's putting up, and having some time.
She's played
assess.
half the minutes. She's played half the minutes of their second leading goal scorer, Brecken Mozinga, who's a 2-time All-American, transfer from UCLA. All this stuff. She's outrageous herself. This girl Bailey has played half the minutes because she comes in as a sub and has scored the most goals. She comes in. She you can see the way she plays. She has swagger. She's kind of fun to watch. I hope she's not fun to watch on Thursday, but she is fun to watch.
Yeah. And so she caught my eye. Kendall Peterset. She leads the team with assists. She is a consistent starter, a consistent contributor to the goals that they get. They have 2 different keepers. I'm not too sure what the story is on that. They both have
listened to an interview. And the coach said
because they both have minutes and
it's on purpose. It's not an injury thing. The coach is literally I don't know who we're gonna face on Thursday because she sounds like she's literally it's like an open trial.
I love that
during the season. And the coach says, I'm sure she's not gonna be like it's because we're terrible, but the coach says they're both great keepers. We're blessed to have 2 of them. We're trying to decide who we want to use in the postseason because BYU like ourselves. This game is not the end. This is about postseason, and that is what I would say about this game. I have no idea how our coaches are going to go into this strategy wise. Maybe we will do what Cincinnati did and just play for a draw. I just can't envision that. Like I see us doing what Iowa State did, where they just played them straight up and they played their brand of soccer to try to get better.
Yeah,
we know we can do that because we're good, but that also gives them chances to attack with their players, and that's how BYU wants people to play because they believe that they have the better players.
Right.
I'm sure we'll change some stuff, blah blah blah, but this is not our Super Bowl, is what I'm saying. So, like that was Cincinnati's Super Bowl in a way because they needed to get a draw. They're trying to make the tournament. So yeah, you could play that way. I've seen people saying that on Twitter, like, well, because I was going back and forth, like I wouldn't read into the Cincinnati game. It was a great goal. The most surprising part was they got a goal in the first 5 minutes, and then they were like, well, let's just hang on everybody back here. And they just put like 10 people in the box. They were just not going to let BYU score more than 1 goal to get a draw.
Right.
We could play like that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And we would probably get a 0-0 draw doing that with our talent. Like they probably just wouldn't score.
Right.
But you don't get better doing that. And our goal is not to get a draw with BYU. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's to get better. In this game, is against the best. You get to put your skill up there. We believe in our skill all day. You get to put your skill against theirs, and a team of their caliber that you're gonna see in the postseason, and you get to go on the road. People are not aware. That's why we wanted to go to this game so bad. One of the best college atmospheres in all of sports. Really? You do not get to play in front of 5,000 fans, packed house, in college soccer. So I'm so excited for the players to get to do this. They're hype. They were talking about it in our interviews, but that's so important to be able to do that and learn to communicate in that type of environment once we get to the postseason. So that is the big thing here. Yeah, you could do a lot of gimmicky stuff. I don't know what our plans are. Have no idea. I'm here for it. I'll support whatever we do. But I envision we're going to come out playing our brand of soccer until we get a goal, and then maybe something changes. I wouldn't expect a Cincinnati approach. Someone asked that on Twitter, so I just wanted to say that. But I just don't think we're going to play that style just because it worked for Cincinnati. Because we're trying to win and we're trying to get better. You do not get better at soccer doing that.
Yeah, and I don't think that like really like leaves like the identity of this team isn't to settle. You know what I mean? Like it never has been. So I know we're pushing time, so I'm gonna move through a little bit faster. But y'all know we could talk about this for literally forever. And if anything you want to say, Shelby, at the end, feel free.
I just have one more question from Twitter, but you can finish your preview. But it's about BYU, so
cool.
Let me know when you're ready.
We'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up with that. But yeah, BYU is going to be really tough. The players that we've already mentioned. There was another player that I looked up, Olivia Smith. Defending wise, all this good stuff. It's going to be a really fun match. We're going to learn a lot. BYU has some really like. We talked about some of their schedule. They won against UCLA, who was number one at the nation at the time, reigning national champs.
That was a crazy game.
I number one. So it was
they beat number one, and then the next week, BYU is for a short period this year ranked number one in the nation because they were number one after they beat UCLA, and then they had that hiccup where they lost to Utah State on the road out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and dropped a little bit, but they're still really good. When they play up to their competition, they're good, and they're not going to be sleeping on Texas Tech. You can tell in the way they're talking about us in their interviews. I can't wait to see their actual interviews before the game, the ones that come out probably tomorrow. But they've been asked about us before this last game in Iowa State and after, and the way the coach and the players talk, you can tell they're ready to have a big time matchup because they feel like they've not performed to their ability in the Big 12 yet. And it's at home. We're getting their best shot.
I know. And that makes everything so much more hype, right? Like we've been waiting to see if we are too like optimistic or if we're, if we're thinking too hot, but like we've been proven right. So time after time after time, like all of these matches that have been so like difficult for us to lose in a lot of ways, we just mentally left that at, I think in the state of Arizona and the state of New Mexico. And I am looking forward to this match so much. And I think, and based off of what I've heard from BYU's coach and what you can see on their film is that they struggle to be scored on early. So I am looking to see that what we do by sticking to us and sticking to our identity and who we are. And I would love to see an early goal. We've done it. We've consistently done it. We have our players that we can count on to do that, and just strike at their weakness right off the dome, right off the top.
It's going to be in the back of their minds. They probably feel a little bit better about it after the 7-0 win against Iowa State, where they got the goal early. They got a goal in the first 5 minutes of that game and in the first 5 minutes of the second half. So they're feeling good about themselves. But you hope, because 2 of those early goals came at home. On their field. You hope. I'm sports psychology. I'm hoping they're weak. I'm hoping they don't have a good mental game, and they're thinking about that, and we come out and get one early because you're so right. That would change everything for us for sure. And we're capable of it. So it's just going to be such a great game of soccer. I don't know what the result's going to be. I don't really, I care, but I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I just think we're going to learn so much about ourselves. It's a great thing to build on moving forward. And this is the type of game we need. I'm so happy that at BYU is on our schedule this year versus next year, because I'm not going to talk about next year. We could be just as good, but because of the grad seniors we have on this team and all that, if we're going to squeeze this orange of this specialness of this team,
squeeze the orange.
I'm so happy we go there during the regular season this year and can learn a lot from this trip and hopefully come away with some points out of it. But we'll see.
Wow, that's a great quote. I like that. Squeezing the orange.
Squeeze the orange. 8 p.m. Central Time.
8 p.m. Yeah, so
I'll
make
be
sure
up late
that
over here in North
that'll
Carolina,
be good.
ESPN Plus, y'all. ESPN Plus.
Yeah, you can watch it.
Tweet with us.
Do it.
Zeet with us, whatever it's called. All right. After that, we have one question from Twitter that you might have answered, but Matthew Alvarado,
Okay.
right?
Oh yeah, Matt.
We're
I
friends
know
with
Matt.
him.
Hi.
Yeah, I never
Yeah, I
said their
love
last
Matt.
name out loud before. Anyway,
Hi Matt.
he asked
Love ya.
what matchup specifically are you looking at? And it might have been what you said there at the end is the early goal scoring, but I don't know if you have anything else, like a specific personnel matchup that you're looking at.
All of our goal scorers, like all of our strikers, like I cannot wait to watch Alex Kerr cook. I cannot wait to watch Macy Blackburn assist and just feed the beast that is Alex Kerr, that is Ashley Williams, that is like Hannah Anderson. Like it is gonna, like, I predict this game to be high scoring, and also on the same like coin is like Hannah Anderson, our defense has consistently shown up every single time. So like I don't know, but I don't know. So,
our
you
back
never
line
know.
against their
Ooh, it's gonna
crazy
be-
diverse level of scoring, because someone else asked me if they're similar to Texas. I don't really think so. I mean, yes and no. They have two really good forwards like Texas does, but they have so much more than that. So I don't think the game plan will be the same. Like it's more,
Right.
you can't just like take those two out of it. So yeah, it's gonna be a great game. Tune in. If this is for some reason your first game, buckle in because you
Yeah, for
picked
real.
a wild one. Two top 7 teams, number 7 versus
know.
number 7, the battle for number 7. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's lucky for us and not them.
That's true.
It's going to be a great environment. We'll be hyping it up more as we go on through the week. But next on the list is another huge game. No matter what happens on Thursday, in a lot of ways, this game might be more important because it's a home game and you really need to take advantage of your home games. It's against number 23 TCU, who again I think should be ranked much higher. They started the year in the top 10 and then kind of lost to a couple top 5 teams and have been fighting their way back into the top 25. They've been like in the top 20 in the Massey ratings for weeks now. They're right behind us in the computer models. But the top 25 probably put them in there, and they're number 23 this week. So we got 2 top 25 matchups, one on the road, one at home. If you're listening to this, make plans right now.
Yeah.
To be at this game on Sunday. It's
You
such
have
a
to.
huge
You have
game.
to rally for the team. You have
I get
to.
that Sundays are a little bit usually smaller crowds. People are tired from everything they're doing on the weekends. Go to church, do whatever you do in the morning. Do your morning routine,
Get it done.
to the field. John Walker Complex. It's a great place to watch game. I cannot emphasize how big this game is. And one last note before Sibby takes it over is I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong,
I will never do that.
These seniors have not ever beaten TCU. Didn't they tell us that in their interviews? They've gotten some draws, very big draws. Like they went into Fort Worth last year and got a huge draw against them. We're the only Big 12 team not to let them score. Shout out Madison White. And they were top 10 last year, one of the best teams in the country last year. And so they've been impressive at times against them, but they haven't been able to get the winner. And all the players we talked about, especially the 2 seniors, talked about this was the game at home they were most looking forward to. BYU was the game. Otherwise, they were most looking forward to. So this week is really fun for the players.
And I am just having this realization of like, if y'all have been our day ones or like have followed us for a while, like this is kind of like what women's basketball had last season. Of you could be witnessing a really important historic shift in our program to be so successful, even more than it already has been. Like this is a history making team. And yeah, you're totally right. So we have TCU at home. TCU is second in the Big 12 according to points. They're 8-3-2 overall and 4-0-1 in conference. So undefeated. They had a draw in Big 12 conference. But yeah, they are a strong team. So some just quick notes. They tied BYU 3-3. So a high scoring game with a competitive BYU, kind of what I'm a little bit expecting with us and how we play, maybe not.
They got up early, like 2-0, I think, in that game. And BYU clawed back. We watched the very end of that, and BYU scored right at the end to tie it, but that was a fun game
Pretty
too.
wild, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have some goal scorers with 7 Castaigne. I love that name. And then Gracie Bryan. AJ Hennessy is a name.
What a name.
She's a player. I know.
Get her an NIL deal.
I want to anyway. I was like, that's a party. Like
TCU though. I don't know if they're allowed to do that there, but
oh, true. Anyway, and so BYU and TCU. Interesting. Anyway, so AJ, what I've noticed is that she's kind of heating up, kind of like in our Jill Martinez, like how Jill's been heating up AJ, I think, is one to look out for too. She's really crafty, she's fast, and she seems to be gaining momentum. But their keeper, dude, the battle of the keepers is going to be really, really fun with TCU.
game,
So
for sure.
if you can be at that game and get behind
there.
Madison White, you can literally be like within feet of this legend.
Don't distract her, but be there.
And just hype her up. Oh my gosh, we should probably ask her how she wants to be hyped up. Anyway, so
she
battle.
She blocks all that out. She's too good, but
okay, that's true.
You know,
that's
but
true. Whatever.
just be there.
Anyway, so TCU.
You should get there. That is such a key thing that fans should take so much more advantage of. Is I wish that our students would get there early and line up when it's the opposing keeper on that end. It's usually the first half, I think. Is what I don't know if they get to choose that, but it seems like it's the first half. The other team is down there. Typically, I don't know how it works, if that's normal for every game. But anyway, get there and line up and just annoy the ish out of the TCU goalkeeper.
Ooh, family friendly ish.
The ish. It's TCU. God is not on our side this week between BYU and TCU, so we got to do what we can do. Here's my call to Texas Tech fans: get your butt to John Walker on Sunday at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Check the schedule. It's 1 p.m.
Tailgate.
Why not tailgate?
Maybe.
You can tailgate. There's always people tailgating in soccer. If you haven't tailgated at a soccer game, you're missing out. Get out there and do your thing.
Dude, I'm going to
Sibby's going to be there tailgating.
I'm going to tailgate. I'm going to tailgate.
Pop up the tailgate of your little whatever you have and go to town.
We got to make a scene.
Football's on the road this week, so you can't tailgate. Let's get it into soccer. But be there and help them win. Again, for the seniors, they've not gotten a win against this team in their tenure. They've gotten some draws. They've not gotten a win. This would be so big. Whatever happens on Thursday, it doesn't matter. This is a big game in the standings where all these 4 teams that we're about to play are all kind of duking it out at the top there.
Yeah.
And it's huge. And also, as my thing says, they don't even know what their flipping mascot is. So it's just embarrassing at this point. We have to beat them. They're lizards.
Roast.
They're not frogs. Horned frogs aren't a thing. It's a lizard. But anyway.
Okay. Well, yeah, I love it. The roast. So yeah, be there. Their keeper, Lauren, is really great. They have a great defender, Grace Coppinger, and she's been like Big 12 teams, Big 12 freshman teams.
She might be. Spoiler, I don't know if they'll give it to her, but she could be Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week this week, based on the hype I've seen online about what she did this week. She's really, really good. So this TCU team and like all of the stars are aligning to be there. I expect it to be like a barn burner. Like we're gonna come in hot. They're gonna come in hot. And I just, you know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and say that we just kicked their butt. I think we're winning 3-0. I don't know that they're really good defensively. I get it. I get it. But I just hate TCU. I really do. And I know that we're going to be hyped no matter what happens on Thursday, whether we lose or we win. They're going to be so hyped. And you know what? I feel like is their defense, you know, when they play, they're kind of Texas level of when you look at their schedule. When they played the better teams, BYU got 3 against them. Like now they've gotten to Big 12 play and they're playing some of the other teams in the conference. And I'm just like, like they haven't played Texas yet, who's the other offensive team. They gave up 3 to BYU, which is not anything to be upset about. They're just ridiculous. Right. But yeah, so we'll see. But she is a good keeper and they have some good players. But I don't know, man. I love the 3. I love a 3-0. That sounds so nice. If we actually beat them, that's pretty big in soccer. Actually, on the message boards today, I posted that we were top 7, and someone said, "Please beat TCU 10-0." Oh, okay. Not a big TCU fan, this guy. So I told him if that happens, I'm buying him a beer. Do you know soccer? Got to be a record. I think so. Like it had to be. So yeah, I love that. I'm with you on it. I think it's going to be a game that we're like our playmakers who come into the game, they're going to have to really step up too, knowing that we're coming off of this BYU game. So that's true. That is a good point. If we were fully rested, I'd give us 3-0. It is going to be challenging to play TCU after BYU. 2 days after BYU and traveling from Utah. But I still think we can get the win. I think, we're scratch winning. It out. You know, we're never losing. Obvious. That was so silly, Shelby. How dare you? Okay, so let's wrap up with soccer. Let me tell y'all real quick. Again, we're more than halfway done with
regular season. But we're getting into this really exciting time of our schedule. So we have BYU October 5th. That's this Thursday, 8 p.m. night game. Let the kids stay up late and watch this game along with everybody you know. After that, we have TCU at home on October 8th. TCU at 1 p.m. Be there. And then we have
absolutely
UCF.
Drag your friends, take your
Get in there.
exes, use the basketball thing that we did last year. Everybody you need to bring
It
your
worked.
whole fam. Be there, line it up. There's so much room to stand on the fence. Stand by the fence, annoy the shit out of the keeper from TCU. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And we'll round out the regular season UCF at UCF on October 12th, Oklahoma State on the 15th
Quietly,
at home.
a really good team.
Mm-hmm. Iowa State at Iowa on October 23rd, and that ends our regular season, where we head into the Big 12 tournament on October 28th, which y'all, we're like there.
We're
like,
it's October.
We did it. Or we're doing it. Like, it's
no, we have not done it yet. This is
I
the
know,
stretch that we
I
have
know.
been patiently waiting for all season. I'm
Yes.
sure the team has too. They've done a good job not looking ahead, but there is no way around it. The Texas Baylor thing to start conference was a tough road trip. That was impressive
Sure.
that we did that. BYU, TCU, UCF, Oklahoma State, all top 30 teams in the computer rankings. UCF was just ranked last week. They lost to Oklahoma State, I think. I don't know. They lost to someone this week, and then TCU beat Oklahoma State. If those teams were playing other people this week, they could have easily all been ranked by the end of this week. They were just beating up on each other. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited for them. I'm not like nervous at all for this team. I know that they have the right mindset, and they're as hype as we are as fans to watch it. There is hype to play.
I agree. Yeah. So I can't wait. Good to see. And we're going to finally shift out of soccer. Damn, we have never talked about soccer that long, and I'm proud of us.
Really?
Well, 1
we haven't
hour.
really been previewing. We almost spent an hour last week just talking about the Texas game.
Oh, no.
It was like 40 minutes.
Oh, no.
But we didn't preview OU in Cincinnati at all because we ran out of time. We had to move on. But this week we recapped and previewed in an hour. That's good stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, y'all are welcome. So let's move forward to volleyball. They went to TCU kind of towards the end of September. I'm trying to think of the last date or the date that they were there. But they had 2 matches against them. Their first one, not so great, losing 3 straight sets.
I will say I watched that game, and Para for TCU is her. She's ridiculous. I don't know if you noticed her from the second. I didn't get to watch the second match. You did, which was a lot more fun. So you might be required to watch all matches from here on out, and I'll just sit that out because I'm bad luck apparently. But yeah, that girl was. She had like 5 aces in a row or something, just serving, and then she was just crazy. She's. I think she leads the Big 12 and kills per set or something. She's crazy. She was offensive player of the week, just announced earlier today.
Wow,
good player.
Good for her. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. TCU, very very competitive team. So let's start with the good that happened when we did lose 3 straight sets in that first match. But good things to note: Simone Overbeck. I have loved seeing her play a little bit more this season. She's been kind of on my like watch list of like, I can't wait to see her come in. Like, you know, when is it going to happen?
Cool story.
Yeah. I'll let you get into that because I don't know if I'm familiar.
Oh, sorry. Story. Yeah, I wasn't there. If you really want to know the full story, KTXT actually put out a clip with her today, and she was in the press conference probably because she had a great weekend. But before the season, there was a story on her. I think Daily Torador did a story on her. It might have been KTXT. One of the student organizations did one. She was a huge 5-star top talent out of high school. Went to Arizona and was there for 4 years, but just couldn't. Injuries, just bad luck injuries. Yeah. And she thought she was done with volleyball, was just going to be done with her career, graduated, and Greystone convinced her to come for one last hurrah to Texas Tech as a grad senior this year. So she hasn't got in a lot because she's had a lot of injuries in her career, but it was cool to see her get in these highlights that I got to watch, and she was in there a little bit on Thursday.
What is another grad transfer person that comes to mind for you?
And
with
volleyball?
Tech Sports, who made a huge impact.
Alex Kerr? What do you mean? Like, there's so
yeah,
many options.
I'm sorry.
I can go
Yeah.
Tariq Owens, Matt Mooney.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I did not set you up. I did not set you up for
Amber
success.
Scott.
Close. Katie
Jasmine
Farrell.
Shaver,
I was thinking about Katie Farrell and like her.
The list goes on.
I am so sorry, y'all. I did not do great there. Anyway, I was like, wow, that like we have heard of like athletes that have come through and like in their grad year and had made such a difference. So I'm hoping that this is like a start of the Simone Overbeck era. But she had a career high in digs and kills with this this first match against TCU. Emily Merrick continues to stay her. She was leading the team, leading tech with 7 kills. She is so powerful with
she's
her
also
strikes.
A transfer, isn't she? Pretty sure she's a transfer as well.
Oh yeah, we could do like a whole like everything with all transfers. Obviously, you just named 40 of them. And then Maddie Correa doing what she does best. And she earned a team best at 7 digs. And the consistency that we see from Maddie is so helpful, and the hype and the energy that we've talked about from Maddie is so crucial to this team. But it just felt like we couldn't really find our rhythm, couldn't break 20 points until set number 3. So it was just a little too late. But honest, like this is a perfect segue into their match on Friday. But it seems like the third set is like either where we it makes sense, like it's just kind of we either do something or we don't. And so a completely different story on Friday. I don't know if you had any notes about their match before then, but
right, you kind of covered it. There's not a lot to say there. So on the Thursday game, yep, you're
oh, am I cutting out? That would be
you're back.
awful.
No, you're back now. You're good. All right, Sydney,
oh no, that's
let me know
the
when you're
worst.
back.
I'm sorry.
Where you back?
Yeah.
Okay, you're here. Go for it. Go for Friday's match.
Yeah, so on Friday, like we had almost another reverse sweep, which was really exciting to watch. We went into 5 sets, but that was the story that we had. We came alive really in the third set, as we do, and it's just how can we continue to shave off that time of when that happens? But it was a really great match for Reese Rhodes, who is a senior on this team. She's been so great and consistent, like you've talked about too, with this team. And she had a really great night. She earned her 6th double of the season. She had 37 assists and a career best of 21 digs in that match. So Reese Rhodes, and she does this like dunk technique,
so sneaky,
or it is so good, and she is just like so precise with it. Have you seen her do it before?
Mm-hmm.
Like
she just backhanded little slap over the goal when they're not looking at, 'cause she's the setter. For people that aren't watching volleyball, setters are not usually getting the kills, right? So they're setting up, as their name says, the hitters to come in there and get the kills. And every once in a while, these setters are sneaky. They're in a silly, goofy mood, and they see that the defense is backing up, getting ready to get a block, or they're moving around. And she just has eyes in the back of her. It reminds me of basketball a lot. Like, that's probably one of my favorite things watching volleyball. I'm like, I love those moments because it reminds me of like a really good point guard in basketball that can just be like, oh, I see that. I can turn around here. I know that's still there. I can flick it over and I'm going to score. Like, the control on her flicks are really impressive. She's been great as a senior as well. A little bit not getting as much hype as the other ones because, again, setters, they just do the dirty work out there. But she's been steady her entire career. And she sounds like she had a really good game on Friday. I unfortunately only get to watch highlights, but
hopefully you could see some of the magic that was happening. But again, and like what we talked about in the earlier match, but Simone had a really great Friday. She ended with a career high in digs with 16. So she had a great time at TCU. She popped off at TCU. It was really cool to see her. So I'm glad she's getting recognition for that too. And then we enter into our third set. We lost the first 2 and we just come alive. We start off with an 8-0 run, like, okay, gals, let's go. And they just had a couple of really big streaks, and they just stayed in the fight and continued to rally against TCU and ended up winning that set. So a must-win game for the Red Raiders, and they got it done by just having this dominance. And like, that's it's so challenging with this team is what we've talked about is the talent is there. We know that they're capable, and it's just finding that right combination of when we can see it consistently. But it's no shortage on talent. It's such a cool thing to see when we have those 8-0 runs and we have those streaks and we win that third set, which leads into the fourth set of just having that resiliency. Dugan started the separation with Texas Tech in the lead with three straight points, and that was like a point in the game where like it was just we're either doing this or we're not. And that's when I was like, we're gonna reverse sweep this team again. Like
again.
For
those listening that don't somehow miss the crazy tweets and the announcements and the team putting all the stuff, they reverse sweep number 14, I believe it was, or number 17, Kansas, to start Big 12 play a couple of weeks ago. So they were trying to do it again.
Amazing. And it's always a really incredible fight to see. And so going into that fourth set with, another must-win match. The rest of them have to be for Texas Tech, and they were able to hold on to the lead. And after that 3 straight point, and the ending point was from a block from Kate Hansen, who has just been really thriving freshman, and that sent us into the fifth set, where TCU just they came out quick, and it was tough for us to come back and close that gap. So we ended up dropping the fifth set 15-9. But I think even with these losses, and we kind of talked about it with soccer, but like this is all information for us, and we get to decide to use it and get better. And that's what we have seen with this team is like their serves have been better, their errors have been less. Like I've seen so much growth with so many of these players. Like Kate Hansen, she came out of, like coming really into her own here in the last, four matches. So I think this team has so much potential within the season. We don't even have to wait until next year.
Yeah. They're definitely, the future is absolutely bright as long as this freshman class, sophomores and all them stay on campus. But for the sake of the seniors, you hope they can get a few more wins and really make a run here in the conference. But it's a tough conference, so we'll see if they can beat their 11th ranked pick in conference is what they were picked to finish, which again, we get it. They lost a lot of people to graduation and transfer. But the future is stupid bright. That's why you see this inconsistency. If we could ever win a first set, I mean, imagine like what would happen. Like I feel like the team would just be like, oh my gosh, like in Big 12 play, like, oh, well, we got this now. We just seem to like start a little bit slow, and then we have the resiliency to fight back, and they just fell a little bit short. But that shows you that they can do it. They're capable of putting it together for 2 sets in a row. They just can't get that last one all the time. So it's what we've been saying. Nothing's really changed. I do agree with you. Even in the game I watched on Thursday, which was a little tougher, the Para girl was just insane. Like you couldn't do it. It's just like whatever. But the mistakes, like the own errors, seem like they're more aggressive instead of egregious, if that makes sense. It's like long on a serve where you almost got it in because you were trying to get an ace.
Oh, yes.
It's stuff like that where it's like you blocked the shot, but it trickled down the tape out of bounds. Like, is that kind of stuff that was happening on Thursday? There were a few egregious errors, but not as many as we saw earlier in the year on the road, especially we've struggled on the road. So it seems like the errors are getting more in the line of we're okay with those errors. We're okay when you're being aggressive trying to do something and you have an error. It's like a turnover in basketball, not to always compare it, but that's what I know is if you make a really good back cut pass because you saw it and the defender made a great play to steal it or whatever, it's like I can live with that versus a handed them the ball type of error. So it's that same kind of thing is what I'm saying personally. So I be there on Wednesday. They have a big matchup. UCF, new to the conference, but they're a great volleyball school. They're currently at top of the Big 12 standings coming in and are almost a top 25 team. They probably will be next week unless we upset them. So let's keep them out of the top 25. They're receiving votes right now, and we play really well at home. So
come through.
Get there. They're trying to get a big crowd there, y'all. If you've never been, just go out and show out. Volleyball matches can be pretty quick. It starts at 6. You can be done by 7:38. If we sweep them, we can be out of there in an hour. You know what I mean? Get home.
It's so much fun. It's so exciting.
And they're giving away a lot of stuff. So if that didn't entice you, you can win a free TV. a PS5, a white Yeti cooler, a signed volleyball, some other stuff. They're giving away all sorts of stuff at this
Truly.
match. So get there and yell loud and win something cool and take it home with you. So if you haven't been, drag your family there. This team would really appreciate you being there. They're all posting about it. And it would be cool to see another. I think they had over 1,000 fans or something for Notre Dame. I hope we can get that type of excitement for this game, this match. Sorry, too many sports covering in the same episode.
I know. I'm with you. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, can't wait to watch them back at home where we thrive. So, speaking of being back at home and thriving,
hey, we got a W in football, y'all.
Put us back in that W column. Football. Hey,
we back. Big 12 champs. Is it still mathematically possible? I don't know.
Okay.
Hey. I don't know how many we've lost. So I'm like 9-3. Are we 9? Can we be 9-3? Anyway,
9-3. Yeah.
What we're saying is we're back. We're back. Y'all, Texas Tech is back. I love our fan base because legitimately we can be so sad. End of the world.
I know.
It's all over after a loss. You win a game and everyone's like, natty. We can still do it.
It's our year.
It's our year.
Statistically, this is our year.
It was a little bit of an interesting game against Houston, especially that first half. You had Donovan Smith returning, and the man just was.
He said
Donovan Smith revenge game was happening in the first half.
He said in the parking lot.
Career high touchdowns in the first half, like 4 touchdowns in the first half, and was just going crazy. I don't know what was going on defense in that first half. I have no idea. I was very concerned because I was like, our defense has been at least adequate to good most of the season, and they were not there. They showed up in the second half, as we'll get to. Something changed. Ben Roberts was quoted after the game as saying something to the effect of, I felt cold when I went out there. Basically, once I got a little sweat on me, I felt like I was in it. We felt a little off to start the game. So I'm like, buddy, go run some wind sprints, y'all. I don't know what you got to do, but get out there. I think that was a part of it. Also, he's a freshman. We also started another freshman linebacker. Our linebacking core has had quite a bit of injuries. It's kind of gone under the radar, but we've lost a couple of linebackers to injuries, and you put freshmen out there. That's a really key position there, especially in the Big 12. Sometimes they got to go out on passes. They got to stop the run. They got a lot of assignments that they got to do as freshmen, and they were struggling. They were getting beat on some passes and miss assignments and stuff. Also, our senior on the back end, Rabbit. I think after 16 plays, so probably that could have been 4 drives in this game. Goodness, but sometime in the first half, he went out injured, and he is it on the back end. So that didn't help. But they did have a freshman that came in, Chapman Lewis, who's a true freshman, came in, and he actually played pretty well. If you look at his analytic grades, he graded out as one of our higher defensive players. So I thought that was impressive. And I think Rabbit's supposed to be back, but that's encouraging for the future from that standpoint. But in that first half, special teams, our guy, we talked about him on the show, Jerry McCray.
Yeah.
That kickoff return, Houston goes down the field, scores like it's nothing. And you're like, what is happening? And then Dre just like 105-yard touchdown return.
Yeah. So see ya.
I really wish we could. I don't know why we don't involve him more on offense. I know we got a lot of receivers, but I'm still waiting for a few long touchdown passes to him. I think Barron could do it now that he's quarterback. Barron did look good, all things considered. He didn't have a flashy stat line, but he did what he didn't turn it over. He did what you asked of him. He took what was there. And if the reports are true that he didn't practice all week because of some getting dinged up a little bit in the previous game, if that is true, he didn't take any first team reps at all, and then just went out there on Saturday, warmed up and played.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. And you kind of saw that in a little bit. Some of the throws were a little bit off timed, but the ones that he needed to make, he made them. He had a few drops from receivers, which is getting annoying. But that's going to get fixed next year. Shout out Micah. And as guys get some more playing time, and to give our receivers credit, this is the second year in a row they've played with multiple quarterbacks. They don't have a lot of rhythm with them. So hopefully that won't be a problem now. And he'll look even better against Baylor because we have struggled on the road in the Joey McGuire era. Not to temper excitement here, but we've only won one game.
Oof.
We're 1-6 in true road games in the Joey McGuire era. We've been really good at home, like 8-2, 1-6 on the road. So
that's tough.
That's tough, and you saw that in West Virginia. I don't know what the issue is there. It could be a mental thing. It probably is a mental thing. A lot of it. Obviously, we have the physical tools to win games. We got to shore that up somehow, and hopefully this is the game because Baylor is a beatable team. I'll be nice and say that.
We matching records with the Baylor Bears, but yeah, this will be to see what could be the new like consistency with our quarterback, right? Like having Morton in there, more reps, and then coming out with that very explosive high offense, high touchdown. I don't think there was a single field goal in that match.
No, that first half was like I almost think it was
14,
just think it was just Mike Leach up there being like air raid, like we were honoring him at the game, Hall of Fame. That was. I felt like I stepped back in time at least 10 years to the Cliff Kingsbury era where we had no defense. It was wild.
Right.
We completely shut them down in the second half. Did they even score? They didn't even score in the second half.
Right.
Like shut Donovan down, shut down their offense. So the defense got to figure it out, which gives you a little confidence heading into next week that whatever was going on in the first half will not happen again. Please.
I know. I'm with you on that. I'm excited for them. And yeah, I'm hoping that everything just works out the best way that it possibly can.
I hope they all have fun and we massacre some Bears. I know there's a lot of Texas Tech fans going to that game. It's also called the Butt Bowl in fan circles, BUTT. So they're trying to make that a rivalry as Texas leaves. I don't know, whatever, to Baylor yawn, but here for it if that's what we have to do. Just get a W. Just keep it rolling. I want to keep the positive vibes going. Yeah. We have a lot more fun when things are positive because we feel like we rode that boat a lot and it's nice to not have to row it on our own. You know what I mean? When everybody else is being positive too. We don't have to really overkill. The shoulders get a little tired. You know what I mean? So keep doing their things, guys. We have faith.
That's right. Yeah, we do. Yeah. So
that's all I got on them. Yeah, that's
great.
We covered it. We covered the big stuff. That's what else can you say on that, really? We don't need to spend 2 hours talking about football.
Let's do it. Okay. So are you wanting to move into the basketball news?
Yeah, let's wrap it up with basketball. Exciting. Okay. I'm a hooper. I love hoops. I watch basketball all the time, y'all. I'm so hyped for both men's and women's basketball to get out of the way. Really excited about what's going on with both programs. You got to be patient, I think, with both programs. Don't give them too much unnecessary pressure from the fan bases, but there's a bright future for both ahead. And practices started last week. That was hype. From the men's team, they were putting out fun little social videos. They just gave the right vibes. I think the vibes we said on the podcast to keep it as nice as we could last year, the vibes were not right. We couldn't place our finger on what was going on, but the vibes weren't there. And then we obviously found out as the season ended why the vibes weren't there. But this year, it's all we've seen is practice clips. Haven't seen them play. Don't know what's going to change. But the stuff they're putting out gives you hope. That I just love the culture that's being built. Toughest team wins. It just feels like Texas Tech. But there's also a loving relationship going on between the players, it feels like, but a very honest one at the same time. Like, I think they put out a clip about that yesterday. Like, he's going to tell you the truth, but he's also going to coach you up and praise you at the same time. You're going to get both ends. You're not going to just hear the negative. So I'm really excited about the men's team. I don't know if you've seen anything on them, but
yeah. I think that's what we've needed. And so far, kind of Grant McCaslin doing his thing and keeping his head down and like getting to work, I think is honestly what we needed. We needed that, like, we just need somebody to be here and like be consistent and like know what the goal is. And I think he's doing a great job of that so far from what we can tell. And I know, it is what it is, but I'm
a little gun shy after last year.
I know, but I feel so like content with what Grant has doing and how he's
a good dude for sure. Mm-hmm. And he did the swag surf at sat on the football game. So he's a man of his word. He said that at his press conference. You will remember that he will get out there and swag surf with the students in football season. And he did that on Saturday. If y'all haven't seen the clip, it's a good clip. He did it against Houston at home, and he did it well. He had that down.
I love it. It's pretty easy to get there, but
it's not that hard, but some people mess it up. I've seen the videos. I'm like, how are we?
You know how we do. Have you heard a group of people trying to clap on beat
It's fair. That's fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
Anyway, but
All right, moving into women's basketball. We'll start off with the negative. It's finally public knowledge, so we'll just address it. Jazzy Jackson is out for the season with an Achilles injury. That's not the death sentence it used to be. I got some DMs about that. Like, are you even sure she'll be back next year? I'm fully confident the way she works. I mean, they have new surgeries. I have no idea what her medical treatment was, but there's new surgeries now. If you really want to get technical, go look it up. That are not the same as the old surgeries when it came to an Achilles. That a much shorter recovery time. That used to be like an over a year recovery. So she and this happened. I'm not going to get into specifics, but it happened. It did not happen on the first week of practice. It's been a bit. That's all I'll say. So she's been recovering. So she's well into her recovery, and she sounds like she's in good spirits, and she'll be back next year. I don't know the logistics around red shirts available, but it sounds like what everything's been said. She plans to be back, and we'll have her as a leader off the bench, but she won't be able to play, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're totally right on. Her leadership is going to be so crucial, and y'all go show her like some love and support with her Instagram and Twitter, and read what she has to say. Like when I read that, I was like, whoa,
profound.
This is when we interviewed her, dude, like y'all go watch her interview. That's her. That's Jazz. Like
100.
Jazzy and same. She's the same person we talked to in the summer. And so I'm excited to see her really show up for the team in ways that aren't in the incredible way that she plays basketball. But I know that she's going to come back. Like you said, like her comeback season is,
it's going to be special.
It's already started, and she's going to show how important she can be in that leadership role for her team. And mentally, like, I think she's going to lead so well in the mental game, which is, Shelby, like how important that is.
Yeah. She'll be another coach. I mean, they say the point guard is the coach, the extension of a coach on the court. She won't be able to do that, unfortunately, but she can sit on the end of that bench, in the middle of that bench, go talk to people. And we have a lot. That is the thing that it hurts the most, is the experience. We now only have one true senior on this team that can play, and Jasmine Lewis. And she's not a guard. She's not going to be running your team up there as the point guard. So I think it does hurt our floor, if that makes sense, more than our ceiling. It hurts our ceiling some because she's a great player, but we do have some depth at guard where we can just piece it together and get by. But they're young. They're great players, this sophomore class, and as well as our juniors that Riley McKinney's played quite a bit, but Ashley Chevalier and Saga Ukkonen, who you get to hear in an interview tomorrow coming out, are both players that are looking to step into bigger roles this year. But experience-wise, there's not a lot of experience on this team. And that's what last year's team allowed them to overachieve after some injuries in the preseason. We're like, ugh, that hurts you. They were only able to overachieve because of the big cats of the world, Bryn Gerlich, all the Tofiono, all the seniors on that team that came in. Tatum, who is now a grad assistant. It's great to have her on the bench as well.
That's true.
There's a lot of wealth of knowledge for this team, but it is a very young team, and you just get to see them grow up real quick. Ain't no sitting around now. It's your time to shine. Y'all gotta step up, as well as an impressive freshman class. And we'll do a full breakdown on basketball as we get closer. but Logan Johnson's gonna be special. I'd expect this just to allow her to get even more minutes. She was gonna get minutes no matter what. This girl's gonna be fun. She could have the same level of impact, if not more, because of playing time availability that someone like a Bailey Maupin did as a freshman. Everybody loves Bailey Maupin, rightfully so, right? I'm telling you. Logan Johnson is capable. She's not as much as a pure scorer, but she can shoot, she can score. She is defensively outrageous. She's so strong in the paint. She comes in looking like she's a junior, built wise. So get ready for her. But there's a lot of guards on this team, so we can piece it together and get by. I think Jada Wynn can maybe come in and surprise some people, maybe be a primary ball handler. I've been speaking it from the rooftops. Maybe Bailey Maupin get some PBH time out there, please. I don't want to take away her scoring, but the girl can pass, and she
need
can
a
see
clip.
The floor. I've been saying this since March.
I need a clip of you saying, we'll get into that in a later episode, and then continue then continues to
I said
say,
in depth.
Jada
This is
Wynn.
not in depth, okay? I could tell you why Jada Wynn and Bailey Maupin could both be great primary ball handlers, but I won't. I'm just saying they could, okay? We'll talk about that later. I've been holding myself back, okay?
I know. You've done such a good job. You're so strong.
I am full soccer mode. I love it. Can't wait for every game. But
Oh, that's awesome.
basketball has my heart forever. So
and then drop the news about a local Lubbock high school.
Aaliyah Chavez. If you don't know who that is already,
Oh
where
my
you
God.
been? But yeah, we made her top 10. I wouldn't. There's people who are like, wow, surprised. I don't know why we're surprised by this, but it is great news to have that. It's good for the program to be considered by the number 1 player in the class of
she is
2025. Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
talk about being her? She's game-changing,
She's there.
program-changing player, and don't count us out. She has every big program out. She just posted earlier today while we were doing this recording. She's visiting LSU this weekend, I believe. So she has not had her official visit with us. She was on campus for the Oregon game as an unofficial, but I'm sure she'll do an official and do all the fanfare at some point this season. Maybe we can get her in for a big game.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, she's Texas, LSU. There's a lot of people on that list. Those are going to be up there, and then us. I think she's. It's not as wild as people think,
right?
But we do have to show progress and keep doing what we do. But she would be a game changer. But that whole 2025 class, that's 2 years away. There's a lot of spots available, especially since Jazzian is now returning next year.
Yep.
There's be 6 people leaving the season prior to that now, so you got to fill them. And so Aaliyah Chavez is one of those. We're in the top. We have top 8 for Avery Jelmstead as well, who's announced her top schools. Those two together could be special, along with the returners that would still be on campus when they entered. So she's a great player. I know most of y'all know who she is. If not, go follow her. Go make sure she knows. But she's from Lubbock. She knows all about Texas Tech. So we'll see. It would obviously be the largest recruit, the best recruit in probably any sport. Have we ever gotten the number 1 player in any sport? I don't know. Someone math that, but that would be hype. So Aaliyah,
that's a good point.
If you're listening, please.
We can't wait to talk about you when you come play at Tech.
Yes, all the time.
Look at what could be. We could show clips.
Let's come win a natty.
I think what's really cool too, just like with that, is like just being in Lubbock and knowing how we have so many like West Texas basketball players like Bailey Maupin, and to see a Lubbock team, a Lubbock woman who's just balling out. Like no matter where she goes, this is such a cool moment in history for women's basketball, for Lubbock, for Monterey. But like the community should be really rallying behind her. I mean, no matter where her.
I mean, the Texas thing would sting, but people would get over it. I would prefer that not to happen though. But they are leaving the conference,
it's
so
cool.
she would never play against us in conference, so it would be a little bit different. So it wouldn't be like that. The rivalry will have been kind of killed by then, unfortunately, because they're leaving. So that could be fun, and there's a lot of other recruits that we're in on for that class because it's a huge one. So stay tuned for basketball. I don't know when we're going to be able to fit that in. I hope it's a long time. I hope it's like the week before the season before we can do a full breakdown of basketball, because soccer just keeps eating up the entire episode, because that means they're popping off. And
I know,
boy, could they do that this week. I don't even want to imagine if they come away with 2 wins this week. I will be unbearable. Unbearable.
We already have been unbearable. Yeah.
We warned Hannah Anderson back in her interview. I was thinking about this the other day. We were like, we weren't around yet to hype you up, but don't worry, we will be obnoxious the entire season to make sure people know about your games. And she's like, okay, good.
Like, confirmed. She didn't know.
She's probably thinking in the back of her mind, like, they were not joking about being obnoxious. It's like, kind of a shtick, y'all. I'm pretty chill in real life, but whatever we got to do to get people.
Hey, we do games. What we say, do what we say. But yeah, lots of good stuff coming up. So thanks for y'all for hanging out for our longest episode ever, probably. But it's been really great. Thank you all for hyping us up in the chat and asking questions. We love doing this. So make sure that you're subscribed, following along. For more updates, y'all know how we roll, and we're only getting better. So
tune in tomorrow for Saga Ukanen's interview.
Saga's
Lady
interview is
Raider
so
dropping
good.
tomorrow evening, afternoon, sometime. It's
She's
a
so good.
great. It's one of the best ones. I say that every time. They just keep getting
I
better
know.
and better.
I was like,
They're always great. You learn a lot about her as she talks about the team.
Mhm.
So it'll be good. Enjoy that for sure. Tune into it tomorrow when it drops or whenever you get around to it.
That's right. Cool. And so until next time, y'all, hopefully coming back with a lot more W's. And until then, wreck 'em forever. Bye, y'all.